I'm Bethany here and welcome to my channel. Today I am joining the Card Hoppin' Fun Techniques brought to you by the Handmade Happiness Facebook group. And today's theme is inspired by, and the technique is stamping with water or bleach. Since I have littles, I don't touch bleach pretty much. um, so I am left with water. So I'm going to try to play inspired by. I say that I am inspired by someone local. I'm inspired by a lot of people actually, but someone local, which is Simon Hurley. He is a fellow Wisconsinite. He lives not too far from where I live. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see and hear his story and see his techniques. He's always got jam-packed videos that I keep having to reference back to. I always learn something from him whenever he does a live, whenever he does a video, and I absolutely adore his products. So I am going to grab one of his newer products, which is the butterfly theme stamp set, and it is called Butterfly Kisses. And I am going to just start stamping and playing. I don't have a specific way I want to do this. I'm just going to play and see what I come up with. First, I have taken one of the butterflies from the stamp set, and I'm taking the outline of the butterfly body, and I'm inking it up with Eclipse Black. It is a water reactive ink, so it's going to be perfect for what I'm aiming to do. And using my smusher, going to make sure I get a good impression, and it is really nice the first time, but I'm just going to add a little extra layer of black because some of it may come off when I start working with the water, and I want to make sure I have a nice layer on layer of the black there. So I'm liking the intensity of that. Next, I am going to switch to the body stamp. I went ahead and lined up the body on the butterfly itself. Now I'm going to use the color Hive Frappe color. It's a brown, a lighter color brown. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to just add a spritz of water. And then I'm going to grab the edge of that just so I don't get my magnets full of ink and water. I don't want to accidentally transfer to the next project. And this is just adding a subtle color of that brown. I'll zoom in here real quick so you can see it. It's not super drastic, but you can kind of see there's this little brown tint now on the body of the butterfly. Next, I'm going to line up the body of the butterfly as best as I can. It helps that these are clear photopolymer, but still get nervous that I'm lining it up wrong. And then lifting it up, I'm going to do a two-tone color. So the Sugar Plum Color Hive ink, I'm going to put more towards the base of the wings. And just a couple of taps. I can always come back later and add more. Now I'm going to spray it. And then I'm going to let it come right down very lightly. But now you can see how that works. Now I'm going to wipe this off with a junky microfiber towel. And then I'm going to use the Tiptree Jam, and I'm going to use it towards the edge of the wings. And then with the same technique, I'm going to spray a little bit, flop it. And because I don't want to drip this onto the rest, I'm going to lift it up a little bit. I over inked on the edge of the stamparatus here, so I don't want to get the rest of my paper all messy. And that's what improvising is for. So now I'm going to just add that pink right there, and it is soaking up absolutely amazing. I love it, love it, love it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this out. Put it into the stamp apparatus. It is Nina 110-pound cardstock. This was not my original plan. My original plan was to do something completely different, but I am improvising because my original plan did not work. So to keep it watercolor stamping, I'm going to go ahead and spritz it with water, and then I'm going to go ahead and let the impression, you'll see how there's a little bit of bubbling up, which is fine, but there was a little bit of the flower bits here that we lost the detail of it. So I'm going to do that again. Beautiful. So it gives it a little watercolor effect, which is really cool because some of the lines are thicker than what the original stamp was intended to be, which means you can play a little bit more with the lines and definition. Using the Tip Tree Jam, the pink from that, I'm going to use my water brush pen and a little bit of the ink. I'm going to pick it up, and I'm just filling in the colors of the rose. I'm not being super exact, just allowing those lines to get filled in. And because it's a water reactive ink, it ends up being quite pretty. And in watercolor, in my opinion, it's okay to be a little bit out of the lines. And if you want to bring more color in, just grab some more. I'm not even pushing any more water out of the pen. I'm just letting what's already there flow. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I want a lot more beefy color, so I am grabbing more of the ink, especially for the center here. And this is just another way to use your stamps and your inks. I wouldn't recommend doing this with pigment inks, but these are perfect for any watercolor based inks that you have. And you'll see I'm losing some of the color as I move out from the center. So I'm going to bring more back in. The one thing though is once you've committed to that color, it's hard to take it back. So if you want to take some off, just tap it a little bit on the side, especially if you have a glass mat. If you don't have a glass mat, I would suggest putting paper towel down. Before I had a glass mat, that's what I used to do. And it's really starting to come together. And because I'm using a thicker cardstock, the chances of the actual cardstock to wanting to pill the more water I add is less, which is great. Because I don't want pilled paper. It really does not take a whole lot of ink to do this. I really didn't even need to do the full smushing of the pad. Blend it down. There we go. And this is just a quick, easy way to add definition. There's my children waking up from their nap. see if they come visit, as it tends to happen right after nap time. All right, so now I'm going to add my greens in, and let me add a little bit more color to the edge of this one. For some reason, this one leaf, or this one petal, decided it's going to pill, but the rest didn't. Go figure. But yes, definitely the more you go over it, the more chance it has to do that, to warp the paper and to pill the paper. But I am loving this. It actually is warping up just a hair, so it looks 3D from my vantage point, which is kind of cool. The next color I'm adding is Lady Liberty, doing the same technique, smushing out a little bit of that green, and then just filling in the leaves. And the watercolor with stamping, or turning your inks into watercolors, it's kind of a romanticized look. There isn't a have to do it this way all the time. This is kind of a do it how you want to do it technique, which I'm all for that. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know I'm a mixed media artist, so I like to push the boundaries of things. I like to test them, and if they don't work, then I'll try some other way. Um, and so I think it's fun to play with different techniques. And find that balance of what works and speaks to you the most. Not every technique speaks to me. But here's the funny thing about me. When it comes to liking cards, I think the clean and simple is probably what I generally am gravitating towards when I look at cards and I see the beauty in them. But when I make them, I enjoy making mixed media. I enjoy making a mess because I also love the outcome. And the brush is a tad dry, so I'm going to add a little bit more water for these last few bits. But yeah, I am not a one-trick pony, so to speak. I do like playing around with a lot of different techniques, and not every technique is for me, which is okay. Not That's not how life is supposed to be. It's not how card making is supposed to be. But I am loving this look. Notice I had a little schmutz there. So I'm just going to take my mono eraser and take back some of that ink. So as I was cleaning up my glass mat, I sprayed water on where I had the ink. And what I did was I smooshed like this the ink up, and I inadvertently made what could be construed as angel wings. So I'm going to keep this as part of my layout. I think it's kind of fun, interesting, and just a little bit different. I do make a lot of these, but this is kind of just a different play on the water and ink and stamping technique. The way I plan on elevating it though is I am going to add a little bit of texturing, and I am going to use pixie spray off screen to get the stencil to adhere to the paper. Now that I have that together, I'm going to go ahead and grab the newer Lunar Paste Gold Rush, and I am not going to do, like I said, the full stencil, but I'm going to do enough that there is a nice light layer. If you're using lunar paste ever, always start light It dries fast though, so you want to make sure whatever you are doing, you have water nearby in case you need to have a mayday moment, or you just need to clean your stencil. I have actually ruined a few stencils already because I didn't get them into water fast enough. So that is my fault completely, but it is also a learning curve for me, making sure that whatever I'm doing when I use lunar paste, I am ready to go and soak or dump in water as soon as possible. I am going to cut this down possibly, so I'm not super concerned about the edges. I may not, we'll see. I might keep the edges rustic. And once I have a good layer, do a couple more over here. And this stencil is from Maker Forte. It's either on sale or it's going to be retired soon. They have been having a lot of sales on their items lately, so I would check out their shop. I have a link in the description down below if you would like to peruse and support my affiliate links. I do appreciate it, as do my littles. Alright, and I'm starting to see where parts of the stencil are drying out. Just a couple more. I think I've gotten what I wanted. Alright, reveal, which will happen fast because I'm going to go run to take things to the sink. And I really like it. Before I put everything away, I am going to dip and frost my leaves here with some of the lunar paste excess, just to give it a little bit more of a tie-in from the watercolor to the lunar paste. And I have to do this super fast because, like I said before, this is drying quickly and I don't want to ruin this beautiful stencil because I couldn't be fast. So I'm also going to grab bits of that for the edge of the wings, which that's really awesome. Okay, I will be right back. I'm going to do a quick little experiment to see if this even works. I'm going to grab the Color Hive Sugar Plum and I'm just going to streak it across, smushable, and I'm just going to ink that up really well, leaving a little texture behind. Now I have a background stamp and all I'm going to do is spray water directly on to the stamp itself. Then I'm going to blot it up just a hair for any over splatters I did. And now just going to press that down, let it set there for a second, clean up my mess. And there you can see there's a little bit of the rose right there, left a lift of the ink, which is super cool. I think that's fun. Let me let it dry and I will be right back. Before I stamp out my sentiment, I'm actually grabbing this scrap piece of cardstock from before, and I am just smooshing up all the rest of the ink. And I'm going to go ahead and dab a little bit of it up. I don't want it super saturated, just enough that when I stamp my sentiment down, my sentiment has a little bit of coloring behind it. And the sentiment I'm using is Sending Well Wishes and Butterfly Kisses. So I am going to use the Tiptree Jam. And nice and lightly stamping that out. And it's really pretty. I like it, so I'm going to cut this down just a little bit and then start assembling. So starting with the Nina 110 pound cardstock base that I've created, I cut the first panel that I made with the lunar paste down to 2.25 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down right away. Since that one will need a little bit extra pressure because the lunar paste does warp it a little bit more, I will put it under an acrylic block to dry right away while I'm putting the glue on this second panel, which I cut down to 2 inches. And I just grab the best part of that water lift impression and then placing that right there as well. I didn't want to leave extra borders or anything like that, so that's why I cut it down to the 2 panels down to be exactly the size of the card front. And while I'm doing that, I've decided that I'm going to put the flower itself directly on to the card base. So I'm not going to pop it up on any foam tape or anything, mostly because it's kind of warping a little bit, and so I need it to be under a little bit of pressure. And I'm going to put it right about here. And then I'm going to let this all adhere a little bit and flatten a little bit, so I will give it a couple of minutes under the block. Then once I feel it's dried enough, I'm going to take that off, and I have foam tape on the back of my little butterfly here, and I am just going to put her right on the edge of the flower as if she's going to fly to visit the flower. And to finish this off, I'm going to go ahead and put on foam tape the Sending Well Wishes and Butterfly Kisses that I cut down. And I think it's really cute. Yes, it is a busier card, but I really like the end results. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorials and tips. I know there was a lot of techniques used in this. It does make for a busier card, but I really, really love the results. It's stunning, it's shimmery, and I really could not be happier with the results. I know I used a lot of different versions of water with your inks just to give you ideas. You don't have to be like me and use all of them together. I hope I provided a little bit of inspiration for you today. Don't forget to click the hashtag down below to see all the rest of the videos in this hop. We are switching over to a hashtag driven hop, so please check out all the other channels. We love and appreciate all of the support. Speaking of inspiration, we have lots of spring inspired products in our shop. Any products that I use today that I have links for will be also in the supply description. And don't forget to find the joy in your day and happy making. Bye! Today I am joining the It's happen. The card hopping group is going to be so exciting, especially because my child is crying again. Frankie, you need to be quiet. Don't forget to quiet on set. Don't forget to check down below for the link to. Don't forget. My children are adorable, adorable, adorable. Don't forget to check. I really like that my child is crying right now too. And bring on the outtakes. Ooh, yeah, buddy.
This is butterflies.
Yeah, do you like it?
I like the butterflies. Is it soft?
Are they so pretty?
They're black.
Well, yeah, the stamp looks black, but when Mama stamps it out, it's not going to be black.
It's a blue. It's a close our wings.
Those are the wings for the butterfly.
That's a flat our wings.
How old are you, Danny? Oh, how old are you?
2.
No, not 2. You have the right fingers up. What's after 2?
It's, I don't know,
I think you know.
There are
How many fingers do I have up?
3.
3. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how old you are. 3.
And what's Daddy's name? It's Corny.
Daddy's name is Courtney, yep.
And Mama's name is Bethany.
Mama's name is Bethany. Good job. You're learning.
My name is Daniel Scott.
Your name is Danielle Scott. You've got it, baby cakes.
Ellie's Scott.
And Ellie, yep.
Ellie.
Ellie's your sister.
What's Ellie's name?
Alicia. Remember?
Alicia.
Mhm.
Alicia Mello Scott.
Yep.
I don't like my tablet.
Okay, you go. Bye-bye, honey.